Let's shift our attention now to the big political controversy of the day. He said, I was off the record and I didn't assume that people would be rolling their cameras. That's when the serial offender in the Narendra Modi cabinet, Giriraj Singh, shot off his mouth and said that if Sonia Gandhi were Nigerian, then Rajiv Gandhi would probably not have married her and the Congress would not have accepted her as its chief. The Congress, of course, is furious. Robert Vadra, Sonia Gandhi's son-in-law, is furious as well. The minister has regretted, but is that enough? Why does Prime Minister Modi have in his cabinet ministers who are a serial embarrassment for him?
राजीव गांधी कोई नाइजीरियन लेडीज से ब्याह किए होते हैं, गोरी चमड़ा नाम था, तो क्या कांग्रेस पार्टी उसको नेतृत्व स्वीकारती क्या?
Giriraj Singh is at it again, this time launching a racial attack on Congress boss Sonia Gandhi. The jibe at Sonia evoking sharp reactions, the Congress calling Modi's ministers a national shame, demanding that Prime Minister Modi sack Giriraj Singh. Under fire over his remarks, Giriraj coming in to clarify. Giriraj, not the only embarrassment for the BJP. Massive anger over the Goa Chief Minister's alleged dark skin advice for protesting nurses. A delegation of nurses had met the Goa Chief Minister on Tuesday with their demands, but they claim that they only got sexist jibes from Laxmikant Parsekar. He allegedly advised nurses that they should not stage hunger strike in the sun as it will make them dark and ruin their marital prospects. Giriraj Singh and Laxmikant Parsekar, by no means the only politicians who have been caught publicly objectifying women. Question is, who will rein in India's misogynist netas and when? With Rohit Singh in Patna, Shujoy, headlines today.
Why are people like Giriraj Singh still in the Modi cabinet? He's made horrendous statements in the past. He's been reprimanded earlier too, and yet life goes on. Is this actually just a double game being played where he has the implicit approval to say things like he's done? I want to go across to Aman Sinha, spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party. He's joining us on this broadcast. Despite previous provocations, Giriraj Singh continues in the cabinet. You are telling us he's been pulled up, but it will almost seem as if this is a part of the double game that's being played. He almost has implicit approval to say what he wants, which is why he knows he can make this comment again and again and no harm will ever come to him.
No, Rahul, party strongly disapproves of his statement, and Mr. Giriraj Singh himself has expressed his regret and apologized for the same. And you will also appreciate, Rahul, that whenever there is any indiscretion or any mistake committed by any BJP functionary, the party also condemns it and the person concerned also apologizes.
Condemnation merely enough? If you want to take, if you want to send a strong message, Aman Sinha, why has Giriraj Singh not been fired? That would be the way to send a strong message, which goes out to the entire cabinet, all the MPs, that they need to zip up and be very careful about what they say in public.
No, you're right, Rahul. He has already been cautioned by the highest authorities. So I'm sure he will be very mindful of that. But please see, the conduct of BJP and its functionaries. Whenever we don't claim to be, a party where each and every functionary is perfect, we have imperfections where whenever we commit any mistake, we have, the heart to come around and apologize and express regret for the same. But look at other political parties in the arena. Digvijay Singh, he's asking for Mr. Giriraj Singh's resignation. He was the one who said that such and such lady is a Tanchmal, 100% Tanchmal. We all recall what Sanjay Nirupam said to, Srimati Smriti Irani. what as sitting minister, what Shri Prakash Jaiswal
But Aman Sinha,
mentioned about
that is why the Congress
marriages
got
getting
booted
stale
out.
after a certain
That's
point
why
in
they are
time.
down to 44
So,
seats.
But nobody,
Once again, Aman
nobody
Sinha,
from the
that's why they
Congress
got
party
booted out,
condemned
which
it,
is why
or anybody even
once
apologized,
again,
Rahul.
even at that time, condemnations were offered, regret was offered, but nothing changed, and the people of India disapproved of such politics, and the Congress was brought down to 44 seats. The hope was that you would be different. But despite floating that hope, on the ground, your ministers are doing exactly what the UPS ministers did. And when you say that UPA members made similar comments, that's really no argument.
No, I agree with you that two wrongs don't make a right. I'm just saying everything has to be seen on a relative scale, and I'm just saying that BJP and its functionaries are much more candid, forthright, and they are willing to accept their mistakes wherever they commit any mistake. At the same time, let me say that what this conversation was, it was an informal conversation, and it was recorded in a clandestine manner. Obviously, if something was said on record or formally, he would have stated something for which he may not have expressed regret later on, the party would have certainly taken action. But this was a case where he had said something which he
Once
committed
again,
an indiscretion. Indeed,
Aman
he committed
Sinha,
an
is this at
indiscretion.
least
But
a
in course
last
of a private
warning?
conversation,
Is this at least, because once again, Aman Sinha, now Giriraj Singh said those who don't want to vote for Modi can go to Pakistan.
I can assure you that.
This was a comment that he made earlier. He's made multiple such comments in the past. Is this a last warning? What happens if 1 month later Giriraj Singh is again on camera saying something horribly wrong? Will he still be allowed to continue in the Modi government?
No, as I mentioned to you, Rahul, today the statement that he made, it was the party disapproves of it. He himself has apologized for it, and certain statements are made in the heat and dust of the campaign, election campaign. I don't think we should stretch it that far. But however, we condemn that, and he himself has apologized for it.
No, he hasn't apologized.
Let us all,
he's just expressed regret. It's not an unqualified apology to Sonia Gandhi. It doesn't matter. So what? He's an off-the-record racist, and that's okay. Aman Sinha, he's an off-the-record. He's racist, and that's okay. When you say that statement is not on the record, what does that mean?
I'm not condoning
it's okay to be off-the-record racist.
I'm not at all condoning that. I'm not at all condoning that.
Well,
it means that BJP, whenever its functionaries, BJP and its functionaries commit any mistake, we are willing to apologize and say things across honestly. But look at what Congress party and other parties have been doing.
I'm going to leave it over there.
Any Congress leader pulled up Mr. Digvijay Singh for what all he's been saying?
You've done now,
either the Prime
the
Minister
Congress
or anybody in the
also said
cabinet
we
pull up Shri
distance
Prakash
ourselves
Jaiswal,
with what Digvijay Singh is saying. Digvijay Singh doesn't speak for the Congress party. The Congress has pulled off a similar stunt.
No, nobody disapproved
this
of
would
what
be
Mr. Digvijay
taken
Singh said,
seriously only if Giriraj Singh is fired. That's the only way that people will believe that Modi means business. This whole business of being pulled up in private doesn't really cut ice. You have to take action against errant ministers who've been caught out time and time again. Aman Sinha for joining us on the newsroom tonight. Thank you very much.